Get ready, Padres fans. It's time for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Tatis at third, 2 outs. Fernando takes off. He's going to steal home without a play.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, and our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today the Padres take on the San Francisco Giants in the second game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Giants, right-hander Logan Webb, and for the Padres, right-hander Dylan Cease. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building. First pitch coming up at 5:40 here at Petco Park. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. I go one-on-one with Padres catcher Elias Diaz. Plus, coming up in just a little bit, we check in with Bob Scanlon on the call today alongside Tony Gwynn Jr. But first, let's set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside. Padres entered today 81-62. They entered today holding the National League's top wildcard spot. They entered today a game and a half ahead of the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks have already lost to the Houston Astros earlier today. So right now, the Padres are 2 games up on Arizona for that top wild card spot. An opportunity to extend that lead now to 2.5 games here today. Padres also began the day 4 games behind the LA Dodgers for first place in the National League West. Meanwhile, the Giants are 69-73. Giants have lost 10 of their last 14 games. The Padres had a very tough ending on Thursday night against the Tigers, but they bounced back in a big way in last night's series opener.
How did the Padres fare in their last game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind. Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
The Padres had 2 on base in the first inning last night, and then this happened.
1-0 pitch. Profar swings, sends it in the air to right center. High but not deep. Yastrzemski over into the gap. The right fielder will make the catch. Arise tagging, throws going to third. Fernando goes to second. Throw there goes into right field. Arise is going to come in to score, and you know what? Fernando is too. Ball ends up in the right field corner, and on a fly ball to right, the Padres get 2 here in the first.
So an early 2-0 lead for the Padres, a very costly error by Tyler Fitzgerald, the Giants shortstop. Moments later, it was Manny Machado.
And next thing you know, this pitch hit in the air to deep left field. Ramos is back at the wall, forget it. Home run, Manny Machado. What a start against Mason Black and the Giants. 24th of the year for Manny. He now stands alone, second place all time on the franchise home run list. And the Padres have a 3-0 lead.
Meanwhile, Michael King was rolling early on. He would begin the night with 5 scoreless innings. Padres still led 3-0 going to the bottom half of the 5th inning. There were runners on first and third for Manny.
Runners lead at the corners. Profar runs, pitch swung on, hit in the air to right field. Yastrzemski charging in, on the move, can't get there. It falls in front of him, and a base hit. Tatis comes in to score, and Manny Machado adds on. It's 4-0.
Padres led 4-0 going to the 6th inning. The Giants' Michael Conforto hit a solo home run against King. That made it 4-1. It was the only run that King allowed in 6 strong innings. Padres still led 4-1 in the 8th inning. Manny Machado struck again.
Pitch to Machado is hammered. An absolute no-doubter. Second deck in left, and a little history. Number 163 in a Padre uniform for Manny Machado. Ties Nate Colbert for the most in franchise history, and a rocket to left to make this a 5-1 game, his second of the night.
Final score yesterday, Padres 5 and the Giants 1. The Padres now 24-0 this season when Manny Machado has multiple RBIs in a game. And now the Padres trying to make it 2 straight wins against the Giants with first pitch again coming up at 5:40. Let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
Let's go inside the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup from Bob Scanlon in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Scan, let's start with the pitching matchup here today. It's a really good one. Right-hander Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres, right-hander Logan Webb on the mound for San Francisco. And Scan, let's start with Dylan Cease. He had a pretty interesting outing. His last time out against the Rays, he was really cruising along, had allowed 1 hit in 5 scoreless innings. Then all of a sudden started the 6th inning, had a lot of trouble finding the strike zone. Your thoughts from Cease's last start and how that sets things up against this Giants lineup here today?
Yeah, you put a good point out there, Sam, in terms of what happened with Dylan. It started off awesome, right? He had 1 hit allowed in the first 5 innings, and then all of a sudden ran into challenges finding the strike zone, which is usually the opposite of his MO, which he has some troubles early in the game, and once he finds it, he's locked down the rest of the way. So an unusual outing for him. I wouldn't read too much into it other than the good side of it, which is he looked like the Dylan Cease that we know can dominate a ball game for 5 innings. And he says he's feeling good. I know he's been working on some things with Ruben in between starts, which we may discuss a little bit during the ball game. But I'm looking for Dylan Cease to come out and be lights out from the get-go. And I'm encouraged by the fact that he did throw better in his last outing to start the game, because that's usually where he has some challenges. But he was solid from the beginning, and hopefully we see that from the first inning on, because as I'm sure we're going to talk about, he's going up against a pretty tough competitor in Logan Webb.
Yeah, certainly a tough competitor. Also a Giants lineup that does strike out a lot as of late. He's a guy who picks up a lot of strikeouts, so we'll discuss that a little bit later on. Speaking of the Giants starter, Logan Webb, really good right-hander, has been for a number of years now. And you look at his numbers, 5 starts before the last couple, 0.96 ERA in a span of 37-plus innings. He hasn't been quite as good the last couple of starts, but overall, Scan, what makes Logan Webb so tough to face?
He works east and west, and so much of this league now is north and south, right? In other words, guys like to throw the 4-seam fastball up in the zone. That's what hitters are accustomed to seeing. He's sort of a throwback. He was one of the first guys a few years back that just said, no, that's not what I'm going to do. The Giants came to him during the offseason, talked to him about making some adjustments, and completely changed his arm slot, his repertoire, everything. So you see a lot of east and west, in and out, sinkers, changeups, sweepers, cutters in on the left-handers. It's just a different look that guys aren't accustomed to seeing quite as much. He has good command. He has excellent action on all of those pitches as well. And the guy's a gamer. He posts. He gives you innings every single year. He's got 29 starts this season, as does Dylan Cease, and he's always a tough competitor when you go out there. The last thing you want to do is start chasing his pitches out of the zone, and those sinkers, because you're just feeding into his strength.
Scan, finally, you take a look at the Padres lineup here today. A couple of notable absences. Number 1, Jackson Merrill, dealing with that left patella contusion from last night. X-rays were negative, but he is out of the lineup here today. We'll see what his status is for tomorrow. Fernando Tatis Jr., a bit of a scheduled day off for him as he comes back from the IL, from that right femoral stress reaction, something the Padres were planning to do and not play him 3 days in a row here. This has been a team, as you look at Tyler Wade in center field here tonight, Scan, that one of their really great traits has been when guys go down or when guys get opportunities, it seems like it's always been that next man up mentality, and they've had a lot of guys step up throughout the year. It's going to have to be that way here tonight with no Fernando and no Jackson Merrill in the lineup.
Yeah, but as you pointed out, they've done this all season long. It's not as though, what are we going to do now? They've played without big pieces in their lineup all season long. I mean, it's almost unusual that they've had all their pieces back, right? So this is no surprise. This is nothing this team is afraid of. Guys have been stepping up all season long. David Peralta's been fantastic out in right field. I like seeing Tyler Wade getting a chance to play out in center field. I mean, to me, he's one of those spark plug type guys that can make things happen, and so I don't think this is one of those games where you look at it and go, okay, if we can just get through this game, then we got a chance to maybe take the series tomorrow. No, this is a game that you can go out and win because, as we've just discussed, this is what the Padres have done all season long. They've filled in. They've been missing pieces. Not a problem. This isn't a team that relies on 1, 2, 3, or even 4 guys. It's been a 26-man roster with everybody contributing, and I think that's one of the strengths of this ball club, and we get a chance to see it again tonight.
Yeah, it's a great point. It has been one of the real great things about this team. Tyler Wade getting a nice opportunity in center field here tonight, and we'll see how the Padres do with no Fernando and no Merrill in the lineup here tonight. And I said Tatis playing 3 days in a row. He did play 3 days in a row. Today would have been a 4th day in a row, but as we certainly understand, as he works his way back, necessary off day here today. And the Padres take on the Giants in Game 2 of this 3-game series. Scan, as always, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Tony coming up at 5:30. As always, thanks so much.
Thank you, Sam.
All right, that's Bob Scanlon joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for first pitch. Again, coming up at 5:40, we go out to Scan and Tony at 5:30. Much more to do on our pregame coverage. When we come back, we hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, plus a little bit later, we hear from Padres catcher Elias Diaz just after a week since he joined the Padres. We have our keys to the game, a full look at our starting pitching matchup, and much, much more to come as we get ready for what should be a fun Saturday night of baseball here in America's finest city. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. Your water perfected, EcoWater SoCal. Your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building and at Petco Park as we get ready for Game 2 of this 3-game series between the Padres and the Giants. A quick look at the Padres lineup today. Luis Arraez DHing and leading off. Jerks and Profar in left field batting second. Jake Cronenworth at first base batting third. Manny Machado after a 2-home run game yesterday playing third base and cleaning up. Xander Bogaerts at second base batting fifth. David Peralta in right field batting sixth. Luis Campusano doing the catching and batting seventh. Tyler Wade in center field batting eighth. And it is Mason McCoy at shortstop batting ninth against right-hander Logan Webb. On the mound for the Giants, right-hander Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres. The two notable omissions from the Padres lineup today: number 1, Fernando Tatis Jr., number 2, Jackson Merrill. With all that in mind, let's hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt before today's game.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Might as well start with the update on Jackson, where he stands today.
Yeah, he sore. Haven't seen him, but texted with him. Spoke with the medical group. Again, x-rays were negative. Expected to be sore today. Feels optimistic about being able to get in there, tomorrow, and we'll take inventory as the day progresses, whether he's available today or not.
Any thought to a move at this point, or still too early?
Yeah, it's more of a question for AJ. So I stay out of the front office roster spot. So, but I think it's way too early. I think we're optimistic we can play tomorrow. That, we likely to avoid a move.
Tatis out of the lineup today. Can you give us any background on that decision?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much scripted, whether it's going to be today or tomorrow. But today made more sense. Hadn't played in over 2 months. So if you think about just a progression and return to play, he played, day off, 3 in a row, which is pushing it a little bit. And he feels good. And I was like, hey, he feels good. Yeah, well, we got to continue to make sure that was the case. We knew there was going to be some, especially with no rehab, which we felt good about, and clearly he's demonstrated, rewarding that. But knew that he was going to need a day off, and today's that day.
Can you give us an idea on what you're looking at with Dylan Cease right now? I can look at the surface numbers in the last handful of starts, a little more uneven for him. Is there any backstory there, what we should be looking for from him tonight?
I think it's a backstory. I think it gets to be pretty simple. I thought he was really good his last outing. He threw a 1-hitter through 5. Had a couple close walks and a soft base hit in the 6th that chased him. So I thought he threw the ball really well. I think that Dylan's simple. Most pitchers are fairly simple. For me, it's easier said than done. Being able to throw a lot of quality pitches, being able to control counts. If Dylan's got his good live heater working in the zone, he's got his slider working in the zone or right under, it's going to be a really, really good day for us.
Can I ask you one final question? Logan Webb going tonight, we know how good his sinker is, but there's a phrase around baseball talking about trying to get him to elevate that. How exactly does a hitter do that?
Yeah, well, you might be asking the wrong guy about that. I know conceptually what we're trying to do, but I couldn't elevate anything when I was playing. But yeah, just trying to make sure. I mean, there's that, in between of the sink obviously is down. It's got more life when it's down. It's harder to, when I say get under it, elevate it when it's like that. That's why the guys are on the ground so much. It's really about seeing him up and putting a good swing on him, trying to get a nice line drive stroke, ball in the air a little bit.
Manny, obviously a big night yesterday with the 2 home runs. You look at some of the numbers as he's really heated up at the plate. You guys have won a lot of games. What has he meant to this group on the field, really going back a couple of months?
He's meant something to us the whole year, and he's been able to get out in the field and perform, and he's a pillar of what we do, and he's a cornerstone of the organization, and he's been able to, for a long time now, been able to, put together good at-bats and good numbers, and no coincidence that we're playing well also.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt before today's game. We'll hear more from Mike on our post-game show coming up later on this evening. Padres getting ready to take on the San Francisco Giants. Game 2 of this 3-game series coming up at 5:40. Giants come in 69-73. The Padres at 81-62. We've got a long way to go. Still 19 games remaining, including tonight. But the Padres can, just by the numbers, secure a winning season with a win here tonight, with picking up potentially win number 82. You heard the final question there about Manny. We'll talk more about Manny coming up a little bit later on, just how important he's been to the Padres and them winning a lot of games here in the second half. Another big part of the Padres' success as of late, no doubt, has been the Padres' bullpen. We talked about it on the post-game show last night. Brian Hoeing, Adrian Morejon, and Jeremiah Estrada, they were all great out of the bullpen yesterday. Perfect 9 up, 9 down in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. The Padres bullpen has the third lowest bullpen ERA in the National League since July 31st. So they continue to be very, very effective, and we'll see how much of the bullpen the Padres have to use tonight. You hope not too much, with right-hander Dylan Cease on the mound. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
We begin with a look at the hot category. Focus on a couple of Padres. Luis Arraez batting .421 with a .476 on-base percentage in his last 9 games. Arraez has not struck out in 105 plate appearances, the longest streak of plate appearances without a strikeout in the major league since 2010. Manny Machado, 3 hits, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs last night. Machado hitting .311 with a .961 OPS, 12 home runs, 11 doubles, 37 RBIs, and 25 runs scored in his last 40 games. We take a look at the not category. Jurickson Profar hit a home run on Thursday, a base hit last night, so maybe starting to come out of it. Profar still hitting just .174 in his last 24 games. Profar, though, has walked 10 times in the past 6 games. So even in a span of the last 6, where he's just 3 for 18 total, his on-base percentage in the last 6 games is still .448. So Profar, I put him in the not category again, but again, the home run on Thursday, he is getting on base at a very high clip. We'll see if Profar can have a nice night tonight, take himself out of the not category officially. And that's a look at who's hot, who's not, as we get ready for first pitch. Coming up at 5:40, we go out to Bob Scanlon and Tony Gwynn Jr. at 5:30. When we come back, we take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We also have our keys to the game. Plus, I chat with new Padres catcher Elias Diaz. Plus, coming up a little bit later, we dive deep into Manny Machado, what he's done as of late. And we take a full look at a really good starting pitching matchup here tonight between Logan Webb and Dylan Cease. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. A lot of people here inside the loft on this Saturday. Late afternoon turning into early evening. I see a Ha-Sung Kim jersey to my left, a Joe Musgrove jersey to my right, a Fernando Tatis Jr. jersey. Everybody enjoying their beers, their food, their mixed drinks, having a good time. I think maybe no coincidence, so many people here inside the loft. We've got some air conditioning in here. It is a hot night here in downtown San Diego after a very hot day. Should be a fun night of baseball as we get ready for Game 2 of this 3-game series. You'll hear from Elias Diaz, the new Padres catcher, coming up in just a few minutes. Also a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard and our keys to the game, all coming up in this segment. First, let's update you on Jackson Merrill, what's going on after he came out of the game last night.
Who's in, who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit him up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, Jackson Merrill fouled the ball off his left knee last night. He stayed in, finished his at-bat, played 1 inning in the field, then came out of the game with a left patella contusion. X-rays were negative last night. Mike Shildt said earlier today that Jackson is sore. He is out of the lineup today. Not clear as to whether he might be available off the bench or not, but not in the lineup here today, dealing with that left patella contusion. Fernando Tatis Jr. also not in the lineup today. It is just a scheduled planned day off for Fernando. Remember, he's coming back from the right femoral stress reaction. He has played 3 days in a row, so this is part of the plan to give him a day off here today. So he is out of the lineup. Again, we'll see if Fernando is maybe available off the bench here today at some point. But both Merrill and Fernando Tatis Jr. not in the lineup here today. Tyler Wade playing center field tonight for the Padres. David Peralta in right. And that's a quick look at the situations for Merrill and Tatis Jr., both out of the lineup for Game 2 of this 3-game series. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We do have a number of finals already today. Marlins beat the Phillies 9-5 in Miami. Otto Lopez a home run in that game for the Marlins. The Mets have won a 9th in a row against the Cincinnati Reds, 4-0 against the Reds at Citi Field. Harrison Bader a home run in that game for New York. The Astros beat the Diamondbacks 11-5 in Houston. Jeremy Pena, 3-run home run in that game for the Astros. Tigers beat the A's 2-1 in Oakland. Rays beat the Orioles 7-1 in Baltimore. Yankees beat the Cubs 2-0 in Chicago earlier today. Doubleheader today in Pittsburgh. Game 1 of that doubleheader. Nationals won 5-3. Rookie Dylan Cruz a home run in that game for the Nats. Games going on right now. Game 2 of that doubleheader. Pirates 4, Nationals 2 in Pittsburgh in the 5th inning. Angels lead the Rangers 2-0 in Arlington in the 4th inning. Brewers 4, Rockies 1 in Milwaukee in the 4th inning. Red Sox 4, White Sox 2 in the 3rd inning at Fenway Park. The Twins lead the Royals 2-0 in Kansas City in the 4th inning. Mariners and the Cardinals are scoreless in the 4th inning in St. Louis. Blue Jays 1, Braves 0 in the 3rd in Atlanta. And only one other game yet to begin aside from this one, the Guardians and the Dodgers in LA coming up at 6:10. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Saturday across the major leagues. So again, with the Diamondbacks already losing today, the Padres at the moment have a 2-game lead over Arizona for that top wild card spot in the National League. The Padres, with a win against the Giants here tonight, could make that a 2.5-game lead over Arizona for that top wild card spot. We'll get into the full standings coming up during the post-game show, but how about the New York Mets? 9 consecutive wins at this moment, with Atlanta still playing. The Mets have a half-game lead on Atlanta for the 3rd and final wild card spot. So we've still got a ways to go here in the month of September, but things are tightening up, and so we'll see if the Padres can take advantage of the Diamondbacks' loss earlier today. Well, Elias Diaz made his first start with the Padres yesterday. Diaz not in the lineup today. Luis Campusano doing the catching for San Diego. ago, but Diaz did have a double in Thursday's game against the Tigers after making his Padres debut the day before, coming into the game late. Of course, Diaz began his career with the Pittsburgh Pirates, spent a number of years in Colorado. 2023 was an All-Star. In fact, he was the MVP of the 2023 All-Star game and is now certainly somebody who could play a big role on this team at the catching position, both here in the month of September and potentially beyond. I caught up with Elias Diaz inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today. Sam Levitt here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game. And right now I'm joined by Padres catcher Elias Diaz alongside interpreter Pedro Gutierrez. Elias, you've had the chance now to be here for a little bit more than a week or so. What's the process been like getting acclimated with this new team here in San Diego?
Elias, tienes poco más ya de la semana con el equipo. ¿Cuál ha sido el proceso de aclimatarte con la organización y ser simplemente un pelotero más de ese roster?
Tratar de lo principal, tratar de adaptarme a los pitchers, de conocerlos, de la manera de su juego, de los reportes y todas esas cosas, pues y ha sido súper bien. Yo pienso ya me siento parte de este equipo como tal.
My main focus has been trying to just get acclimated to every single pitcher. What are their strengths? What are the game plans? What is it that they want to do, particularly when they're on the mound? So I think that's been able to go great. Once that process has been able to come through for me, I just feel like I'm one more of the guys.
What is the most important part of that process, getting to know the pitchers and building that relationship with them?
¿Cuál es la parte tal vez que identificas como la más importante para crear esa confianza y con ese plan de trabajo que tienes con cada lanzador?
La comunicación, estar en comunicación con ellos, preguntarles qué les gusta, qué no les gusta, ver videos, ver el plan de ataque de ellos y estar alrededor de ellos, tratando de conocerlos.
I'm mostly just trying to get to know them. Obviously, communication is the main part, just knowing what they want to do, how do they want to do it, looking a lot of videos, studying them, just trying to get to know what are the biggest strengths, and that's basically the key, just having that constant communication with each and one of them.
Elias, you joined this team in the midst of a really, really nice run in the second half. Now this team coming down the home stretch, trying to get to the postseason. What have been your early impressions of this team and the way they play?
¿Cuáles son las impresiones que has tenido? Porque te integras a un equipo que está en la pelea, que está en la contienda y que tiene excelentes resultados en esa segunda mitad. Las impresiones ahora que te integras y eres un Padre de San Diego.
El grupo de guys de peloteros que tienen, que todos son unidos, todos se preparan para ganar todos los días. Es una armonía que hay en el clubhouse, tanto de los coaches con los peloteros. Y para mí es un honor de verdad poder estar aquí y bueno y esperar el momento para poder dar mi grano de arena para ayudar al equipo a ganar también.
Yeah, basically what I've seen so far that I've liked a lot is how close this team is, how they prepare each and every single day just to make sure they have the best opportunity of success on the field. And for my part, I'm just waiting for every single turn that I get, trying to pitch in what I can do, what I can bring to this ball club, and the main focus is to try to help this team win.
Elias, obviously you've played here as an opponent many times. Now you're playing at Petco Park. The place is almost sold out, if not sold out, every single night. What's it like to now play here in a place where you are the home player?
Conoces ese estadio, eres rival para los Padres muchos años, conoces la afición. Ahora, ¿cómo han cambiado las cosas para ti desde el punto de vista que llegas y tienes prácticamente un estadio lleno todos los días y están apoyándote a ti y a tus compañeros?
Es una motivación bastante grande, bastante bonita. Siempre que venía a jugar aquí a San Diego me encantaba. Era una de las cosas. Los fanáticos siempre estaba full. La energía de jugar aquí es increíble. Y pues ahora la tengo como home club y eso es una motivación que uno tiene a diario para salir a brindar el mejor espectáculo afuera.
Well, that's a great motivation now that I'm on this part of the dugout. Now, on this side with the Padres, having that motivation, having that energy from the crowd is obviously great. It's something I admired from afar when I was coming in as a rival facing the Padres, but it's good for me to be on this side and now have that same support coming behind my back.
Finally, Elias, I just want to ask you about some of your teammates. Obviously, on Friday, you see Manny Machado hit 2 home runs, tie a franchise all-time home run record. So many all-star caliber players like yourself on this team, whether it be Manny, whether it be Fernando Tatis Jr., Luis Arraez, list goes on and on and on. What's it like to be inside this clubhouse with the amount of talent this team has?
Con el talento que hay en ese roster, muchas superestrellas, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, Luis Arraez, tú también uno de ellos, jugador más valioso en Juego de Estrellas el año pasado. ¿Cómo ha sido para ti el integrarte, pero en lo particular un roster que tiene tantas superestrellas?
Es increíble, de verdad que es increíble. Es algo que te ayuda a ti a seguir creciendo en verlos de la manera que ellos que nos comunicamos, de la manera que se ayudan entre uno al otro, de la manera que juegan, de cómo hacen los ajustes. Eso es algo que te contagia y tú aprendes para ser mejor pelotero día a día. Ellos te ayudan a tú ser mejor día a día.
Well, that's a great example for me, just having them nearby. It's a great example of how they can continue to grow and be a better player, just the way they communicate, they help each other out. I'm trying to be part of that process, help them, have them also help myself. So it's a great process in terms of how everybody gets to pitch in to make themselves better, and obviously the results, you can see them on the field.
Elias, welcome to the Padres. Thanks so much for the time and best of luck with everything the rest of this season.
Muchas gracias por tu tiempo, gracias por estar con nosotros y el mejor de los éxitos que viene para ti en esta parte con los Padres.
Muchas gracias, muchas gracias.
Thank you.
That was Padres catcher Elias Diaz earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse. Again, a big thank you to Elias and to Pedro Gutierrez for providing the interpreter services there. And you know what? It's a good thing. We talked about it yesterday. The Padres have 3 catchers right now with the expanded roster, and it does give them a little flexibility as far as pinch hitting, as far as using guys like Donovan Solano off the bench, as far as doing some different things. And that has been one of the great parts of this Padres team in the second half in particular. The full 26 and now 28-man roster effort night after night, and it will have to be that way here today. We said earlier, Fernando Tatis Jr. getting a scheduled day off. Jackson Merrill not in the lineup today after coming out of yesterday's game with a left patella contusion. So Tyler Wade in center field here tonight. Tyler Wade making his first start in center field since June 12th when he was a member of the Angels. June 12th, 2022, I should specify. June 12th, 2022, when he was a member of the Angels. So it's been more than 2 years since Tyler Wade made a start in center field. And guess what? Tyler Wade in center field here tonight. So we talk about it being a full team effort. Padres will need some of that here tonight against the Giants. First pitch coming up at 5:40. Let's give you our keys to tonight's game.
How will the Padres unlock a victory in today's game? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Honor Buick GMC Hummer in National City.
Key number 1, Dylan Cease limiting the walks. Cease walked 3 batters against Tampa Bay last Sunday. He's walked 13 batters in his past 4 starts. His 58 walks allowed this season are tied for the most in the National League. So Cease limiting the walks a little bit more, a big key for him here today. Key number 2, build the big lead. In the Padres' past 30 games, 20 of them have been within 3 runs at some point in the final 3 innings, including last night's game. Padres have a tough test today against Logan Webb, but still, the ability to build a big lead would be nice. It's part of the reason the Padres have used their high-leverage relievers so much as of late. Now, the good news here tonight is that Robert Suarez, Jason Adam, and Tanner Scott all didn't pitch yesterday after they all pitched 4 out of 5 days. So the bullpen should be fresher today, but still, getting out to a nice, healthy lead, that would take some pressure off Dylan Cease and the Padres bullpen today. We'll see if the Padres can get out to an early lead. Key number 3, capitalize on a taxed Giants bullpen. The Giants bullpen pitched a total of 23 2/3 innings in the last 4 days. Their bullpen had to cover at least 6 innings in each game against the Diamondbacks before they got to San Diego, and then 3+ innings in last night's game. This is not a particularly fresh Giants bullpen. They have pitched a lot as of late. Can the Padres capitalize on that here today? And key number 4, strike him out. The Giants struck out 11 times last night. They've now struck out 10 or more times in 14 of their past 22 games. They are 2-12 in those 14 games. Since August 12th, the Giants have the highest strikeout rate in the majors at nearly 30%. So why is that especially significant tonight? Well, the Giants are facing a starting pitcher in Dylan Cease that ranks 4th in the major leagues with 201 strikeouts on the season. So it's a team, a lineup for San Francisco that strikes out a lot, and a pitcher in Dylan Cease who strikes out a lot of batters. How does that all work out here tonight? Can Dylan Cease take advantage of that here tonight? That's key number 4, and that's a look at our keys to tonight's game. When we come back, we talk about Manny Machado after his big night yesterday, his historic night in yesterday's game. Plus, we have a full breakdown of our starting pitching matchup between Dylan Cease and Logan Webb. First pitch coming up at 5:40. More pregame after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 5:40. We head out to Bob Scanlon and Tony Gwynn Jr. at 5:30 as we get ready for Game 2 of this 3-game series between the Padres and the San Francisco Giants. Let's tell you what to watch for in tonight's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in tonight's game. Manny Machado and the Padres' all-time home run record. With his 2 home runs last night, Manny Machado tied Nate Colbert for the most home runs as a Padre. Now both have 163 home runs in their respective Padre careers. The next one Manny hits, he will become the franchise all-time leader in home runs. You just can't understate how important Manny is to this team. Since June 19th, Manny's batting .304 with a .927 OPS, 19 home runs. The Padres are 44-22 in that span. Entering today, Machado is now tied for 10th in the National League with 25 home runs, and he ranks 5th in the NL with 89 RBIs. So what to watch for in today's game? After Manny hit 2 home runs yesterday, can he hit number 164 as a Padre here tonight? We'll see. And that's what to watch for in today's game, the continued great play of Manny Machado. Let's dive into our starting pitching matchup, a really good one tonight between Dylan Cease and Logan Webb.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview. Presented by Chimney Sweeps, Inc., San Diego's trusted chimney and fireplace service company for 40 years. Call Chimney Sweeps, Inc. at 1-800-CHIMNEY or book an inspection online at chimneysweepsinc.com.
Right-hander Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres here today. 12-10, a 3.62 ERA in 29 starts, 164 innings. He struck out 201 batters, the second most in the National League. A .203 opponent batting average, ranks 3rd in the NL. Cease is just 7 strikeouts away from reaching 1,000 for his career. He can become the 4th starter in Major League history to reach 1,000 strikeouts in fewer than 850 innings pitched. His last start against the Rays, 5 innings, 3 earned runs allowed, 2 hits. He struck out 4, walked 3. Start prior in St. Louis, 4 innings and a third, 4 earned runs given up on 7 hits. Cease made his first two starts of the season against the Giants, allowed a total of 4 earned runs in 10 2/3 innings. Meanwhile, on the mound for the Giants, right-hander Logan Webb, 27 years old. He's 11-9, a 3.43 ERA in 29 starts, a National League best 183 plus innings on the year. Last start was not very good. Gave up 6 runs on 8 hits in 6 innings to the Marlins. Start before that, 5 innings and 4 runs allowed in Milwaukee. Webb had put together 5 great starts before the last 2. Had a .096 ERA in a span of 37 plus innings. He's also allowed 3 home runs in his last 2 starts after allowing just 2 homers in his previous 11 starts. 2 starts against the Padres this season. March 28th in San Diego, 6 innings, 2 earned runs given up. April 7th in San Francisco, 7 innings, 2 earned runs given up on 10 hits. He has a .255 ERA in 12 career games against San Diego. And that's a look at our starting pitching matchup tonight. Logan Webb for the Giants and Dylan Cease for the Padres. You've been listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal, your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. When we come back, Bob Scanlon, Tony Gwynn Jr. have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our postgame show on the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.